Okay, we're going live, folks. We're hot. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Celebration Residential Owners Association Board of Directors meeting. It is September 29th, 2015. It is 6:30 p.m. This evening, we'll go ahead and start with the owner's comment period. As a reminder, I want to make sure that we get to everyone that wants to speak. So we will be sticking to a time limit of 2 minutes, which Vanessa, our secretary, will let you know when you've gotten there. And just please state your name as well as your address when you approach the podium. Is there anyone that would like to speak?
Go.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Lee, don't make me faces. Okay, I'm Paul Collins, 508 Longmeadow Street. I just want to talk about the item number 5, I think, which is replacing the sand in Longmeadow Park. I guess I just want to make 2 or 3 quick points about that. First is that, I've done a lot of studies, done a lot of research looking at studies, and everything I've read is that there is not one ideal surface. Every surface has got its issues. We've got one study here. Here's a guy who's been putting playground equipment in Northern Virginia. He's put hundreds of them. The start article is, our company no longer sells rubber playground mulch. It says the reasons: in hot, sunny weather, rubber mulch gets hot. Number 2, in hot, sunny weather, rubber mulch gives off an odor, which those of us who live around the park are not going to really like that. Colored mulch can leave colors on. And the third, and this is what I've read several times, and this is an issue I think is going to come up again with parents, rubber mulch may contain harmful substances. You know, that's a chemical. That's right. And reading the literature in California, they've been trying to make that not allowed. The EPA says it's allowed. They're trying to change the EPA's mind. We all know everything starts in California, but so rubber's not perfect. Now this company, they like to do wood fiber. Now you read about wood fiber, and there's some Canadian studies, the Canadian Pediatrics Association, and they did a study, and what you found is that really for pediatricians, the number one issue they get is broken arms, falls. That's what they see in the emergency room. And their study shows they actually recommend for Canadian playgrounds sand. And they did a studied thousands of playgrounds, and there was the injury level was 5 to 1 higher in a wood playground than a sand. And it makes sense. Sand gives way, whatever. So there's no ideal one. And I guess the point I would like to make is that me? No. Okay. I'm just kind of my thing. So the point I'd like to make is, to me, the nice thing about Celebration is that we have a lot of choices in this town. Is that so parents, because there are going to be parents that are not going to like the chemicals, and they can come to Longmeadow Park. There are parents they're not going to like the sand, and they're going to be worried about cat feces. They can go to the downtown park, which is just another block away. They can go to South Park. They can go to, I like to call it South Park. It's probably the reason they didn't call it that. South Park. They can go to North Village Park. So the beauty of it is that I think, whatever we do, I think we need to keep a variety of options here in Celebration. In terms of the safety, the first point I would make is that if you go to the boardwalk, Disney there are sand playgrounds all over that place. The pools, the hotel pools have it. There's sand around the lake where they show movies. Cats have free access to that place. Now, I don't think Disney pretty much caters to kids. I do not think Disney would be putting sand in their parks if it was not safe. And finally, the one thing I would like to add is that, and Steve knows this, Pat knows this, is that when I'm right up here, why do I care? My kids are grown. I take a particular interest in Longmeadow Park, would you say? Sure. So it's mainly just about the upkeep and maintenance of the park. So I'm pretty active there. And I like to consider myself a mayor of Longmeadow. I wouldn't vote or anything, but when I walk the dog in the morning, I'll go around and I'll clean up the park. Because I hate to see crap in the park, especially the playground area, so I'll clean it up. And I'm going to tell you, and I've been doing this for almost 20 years, I've never seen a picture that I saw with cat feces or anything like that. So I think it is completely safe. And the other reason I'm passionate about it is that I saw the joy that my kids got out of playing in sand. One thing, you go to a playground, and my kids would go down the slide for a couple minutes, but they would spend hours in the playground building stuff, doing stuff with other kids.
So you're giving up yours now, Adam? Okay.
Yeah, and that's something I would hate to see kids in celebration. I think it's great for kids. I think that's why they need to get out from behind their rooms and their computers and get out and play. And guess what? And get injured here every once in a while. But I don't think that's all that bad. And I think so that's
Paul, I got a question.
all I got to say.
What was your address again, please?
5-8.
And you're right across from the park then?
Pretty much. I'm not right across from the playground area. I'm right just one house over. I'd say like O'Leary is next to me. He's pretty much right across, so I'm kind of catty corner.
Okay, are there any other members who live on Long Meadow that are here to speak as well?
I think Debbie's maybe talked to some of the folks on Long Meadow.
I live right behind Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry, Paul.
That's too bad.
Tell me about it.
Okay.
All right. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? Yes, sir.
Well, Joseph Lenahan, 1258 Celebration Avenue. I want to just take a moment to applaud Town Hall on a couple of decisions they've made over the last few days. A standard 6-foot by 12-foot soccer goal from the Aluminum Company can weigh approximately 200 pounds. On Thursday, September 17th at Spring Park, a child playing with this goal tipped it over while they were underneath it. On Thursday, September 22nd at the K-8, parents watched 3 11-year-olds try to move one of these goals. The goal was tipped and dropped to the ground in front of several of the kids. I'd like to thank Celebration Town Hall for stepping up and requiring that portable goals be anchored. Anchors were purchased at the expense of Town Hall to make sure safety standards were being met. FIFA, the international governing body of soccer, U.S. Soccer, U.S. Youth Soccer, U.S. Club Soccer, National Federation of State High School Associations, and every portable goal manufacturer have stated that portable soccer goals must be anchored securely while they are in use. Federal guidelines from the Consumer Product Safety Commission for anchoring and securing all portable goals have been available and endorsed for over 20 years. 5 states have laws requiring goals to be properly anchored. And sadly, most of these laws were passed due to a child's death or severe injury from an unsecure goal. It is easy, even for trusted organizations, to become complacent and forget that these goals can cause serious injury. Management has mentioned that soon, Town Hall will be requiring minimum safety standards for local sports groups using CROA-managed facilities. I applaud this action. It will require that each parent, player, and volunteer have a safe environment to play, and that safe environment will be continued for everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Safety is not a roadblock to a local organization's privileges to use the celebration fields. Safety is often the difference in a quality, reputable, and sustainable program. Thank you, and thank you to Town Hall.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening?
Everyone.
Hi.
I'm Judith Garcia. I live in Aquila Reserve. I'm living.
Where do you live?
Aquila Reserve.
Villa Reserve, okay.
Yes.
Where
I've been living here for 10 years, and I have 2 kids. I love the parks, the playgrounds.
I'm sorry, use that
1229 Golden Canal Lane. Okay. I like to go to different playgrounds. I go sometimes to North Village. Sometimes I go to Long Meadows. The problem I see with the sun, I would like that the sun is removed, because sometimes the kids are playing and they don't see, the cats cover everything. So you don't see them, you don't see the faces. I mean, the problem is when they're playing, they move the sand and they do, playing. So I saw with my eyes a lot of cats go in there, do their things, right? And sometimes I remove it. Her name is Holly, and her kid, that day, her kid got some problems because of the sun and the...
What kind of problems?
Well, she said that the girl got an infection that day. I was there with her. She was in Long Meadows.
But that same day she...
The same day, the little girl got the
Can I
infection.
ask you a question?
Yes.
You said you watch cats doing stuff?
Yes, in fact, I have
Did you push
people...
them off?
What?
Did you try and move them out?
Well, they were, I was sitting that day in North Village, and my husband and I, we saw a cat walking straight to the sandbox.
You didn't try
And
to-
I didn't know how the cat, so I didn't know how they dig a hole, they poop, and then they, so I didn't know. And for a kid, it's very difficult to see it.
Sure.
And if I didn't see that doing it, right, in front of me, guess what? They're going to... What I'm saying, my point is, if you want to let kids play with, animals, excrements and everything, it's fine, but I really don't like that. And so if it's a possibility to remove the sand from the boxes in North Village, that would be amazing. And then for Long Meadows, if there's any alternative, so this part is for kids to play, right? So we have that they have fun, and also parents have fun, right? So I don't want to have some issues every time that they go there because I have to be worried about what they can find in the sun. Makes sense what I'm saying?
Yep.
Thank you.
You
So
actually live closer to the playground, your closest one would be in South Village, correct?
my closest playground is at East Village.
Which is the top one.
East Village.
Yes, it's for toddlers. But sometimes, because I have a 4-year-old, I go to North Village. And other times, because I like sun, I love sun.
You like the sand?
I like the sun, but it's not healthy.
But you-
Because you can see that when you play with it, you can see that it has
Yes, sir. Oh, sorry, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Thanks. I'm Kimberly Leckman, 310 Grand Magnolia. My closest playground is North Village, and just like with the hockey goals, I think this is a health risk, a safety risk for the children in the community. There's no question, based on so much evidence that's been documented, especially by Laura, that the animals in town are using the sand as a litter box. I'm not going to go over the many examples, and that cutaneous larvae, migrants, and E. coli and other things are transmitted through the sand. So I think that the only question is whether, as a community, we can move forward and find something that is reasonable and safe to have as an amenity in the playground. My other comment is that to use a cover instead of removing the sand is just unmanageable, because we'd have to have an employee standing there at any times that the park was in use, making sure that the cover gets replaced. And as an attorney, I would be very wary if I were making the decision to keep the sand after knowing that several children have acquired parasites and illnesses from the sand.
Well, how do you know it's not from a grass area that they picked it up? The
Well-
dogs go on the grass, they pee on the grass?
I hate to
Same
speak-
as it's in the sand. No, you can't see it because people pick it up, but there's still a certain amount that stays in the grass.
Yeah.
That doesn't get total.
I have
Well, we'll wait till you can comment. I'm sorry, I don't want to rush you. Go ahead.
I have several articles that I brought last time, and I can forward to everybody, that indicates that sand is used as, it's an attractive thing for animals because they can bury feces into the sand. So they don't appreciate going in grass as much. And the other reason I bring it up is because our friend Holly has a little girl who had cutaneous larval migrans, I believe it was, and her doctor said the only way of acquiring that is through sand, and the only sand she had been in was at Long Meadow Playground.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to comment this evening? Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
My name is Ed Tice. My address is 915 Green Lawn Street. And, I've heard some great comments in favor of sand. I loved sandboxes when I was a kid. The examples I heard mentioned were Disney. I know I was here last week and the nice lady from Parks and Rec pointed out that there was a survey done, people wanted sandboxes. But when people think of sandboxes, I think of Disney. I think if you've been to Animal Kingdom and you've done the fossil digging, if you've been to the Orlando Science Center, you've done it there, if you go to the Glacier Museum in Tampa, these are big, beautiful, wonderful sandboxes. When people ask for sandboxes, that's what they're thinking of. What we have, the biology is well documented. This is a very difficult climate to have sandboxes because you don't get a winter freeze that tends to take care of microorganisms. There are also issues specific with you get less runoff out of the sandbox and you don't groundwater. I'm not a biologist, but I hear some disparaging comments coming back from the board. It makes me think you guys haven't really Googled it because there are clear, even the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends against sandboxes that are not maintained. So, but more importantly, these sandboxes don't add value to our community. If I was looking to purchase real estate, if I was moving down from the Northeast and considering living here, I would not look at those sandboxes and say they're attractive. If somebody's offering to build a sandbox comparable to what they have at Disney World, and we can afford to do that, I think that would be a valid argument in favor of a sandbox. But what we have right now are frankly dumpy and dirty, and most of the moms won't let their kids play in them. So, and again, I'm kind of disappointed that you guys didn't do your research ahead of time because it's very clear that the biology of a sandbox in Florida. Yeah.
How do you know what research we did ahead of time?
Based on the disparaging comments toward the moms, that doesn't seem.
Disparaging comments towards moms.
I hear a lot of comments that, don't let your kids play in grass because there's outrageous levels of dirt in open fields.
Because basically sand is what's underneath that grass. Florida is sand. You're gonna get the bugs in the grass the same as you're gonna get it in the sandboxes. So and you don't have that much water. That water drains down. It's not like being up north where water just sits there.
So do you have a source for this?
Do I have a source for it?
Yeah, because I did a lot of research for organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics, and they don't agree with you. And so to make these bold statements without a source, I don't think is reasonable.
Okay, I think I have a basic question. Sand is considered I'll take offense because I did make a lot of comments to parents in regards to if you don't want your children to do something, then let's ask them not to do it. I know there's comments that there was concerns in regards to, well, we don't know that the risk is present. I spoke with a lot of different people in regards to it, including the chief medical officer at Winter Park Hospital who specializes in infectious disease. The situations that have happened in Celebration have been extremely rare. We're talking rare that have happened. I asked how we could relate it. Unfortunately, there's no way unless we had pathology verified that the bacteria was present in the sand, the sample was taken, all that stuff. So we can make a relative is that fecal flora is present on all playground equipment. It's there all the time. And so my concern is that if we remove one thing because of a fecal matter being in one thing, we're going to remove everything. Sand is an acceptable play surface by the American, what's the
certified playground safety inspector.
So they recognize it as a surface. If we were building a playground today, would we put sand in it? Absolutely not. We wouldn't. But there are maintenance procedures and different things in place that we do have to take care of. I agree with you that there's a maintenance concern that needs to be addressed. So in summary, you're not in favor of the sandboxes at North Village?
I'm not in favor of the sandboxes the way they are today. Absolutely not. Again, if someone wants to build something comparable to the reference sandboxes like you see at Disney, that's certainly something I would be open to, but certainly not the sandboxes we have today.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to comment? You're already going. Go for it.
Hello, I'm Laura Dejean. I live at 1021 Banksure Street. Thank you again for listening to our concerns one more time about the sand. I understand that the residents that live around Long Meadow, want to keep the sand. Maybe their kids aren't playing anymore in the sand. Maybe they don't want any construction to happen, around their house, or maybe they don't want the park to become busy. But the reality is that 15 feces have been found in that park and reported on the app over the past 3 weeks. So, sand does attract cats and raccoons and dogs, and they like to, defecate in there. So I feel a little, disturbed that, some board members keep saying that the sand is perfectly safe, because it isn't. We know that when feces are left in the warm and humid sand, the parasite eggs that are in the feces develop and hatch in the sand, and that's when the kids get sick from it. So I really feel that it would be the right thing to do to just, do something about it and solve the situation for families. Right now, many families are no longer going to Long Meadows after what happened, and I can tell you in the 3 years that I've been living here that nobody wants their kids to play in those sandboxes at Honor Village. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that the parasite that Lucy Terry caught is a very serious parasite. It comes from raccoon feces, and yes, it might be rare, but it travels through the organs, and it can lead to blindness and coma. So it is a serious situation. We can't not take it. We can't take it lightly, and I feel that telling residents that they always have another option to use the other parks isn't really fair, because as residents, we should be able to play in all the parks here. And you know that when you have small children, they like to go to different parks and rotate. They don't like to play just at the one park that is next to their house. I take my kids every day after school to different parks, but I can't do that on Meadow anymore, and that's the situation with many other parents. So I really, really hope that we can do something tonight for the parents and for the children.
Thank you.
I would appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening for homeowner comment period? Yes, sir.
Tom Susan, 11-4. So I'm a little concerned because I do hear a couple sides to this. The problem is, it seems like the issue has really happened very recently. This park was built back between 1996 and 1997. And to this particular point, none of this was brought to any board since that time. And so it makes me got everybody riled up for that particular point. That concerns me, because then if we really look at the logic of this, if you go on the front porch, there seems to be a child who's not being taken care of by the parent that's closing down the pool almost every week. We should shut down the pools. I don't hear that. If we take away the sand in celebration, let's go ahead and take out every sand surface, including the volleyball courts. Can't do that per the charter. That's an amenity. So, at what point do we go ahead and say, let's just go ahead and, dive in to go ahead and take away everything? Because you could make a point for every single thing. We should take away all the playground equipment, because somebody can get hurt. What I don't like to hear, and being on the board, and it's offensive to me as a homeowner, because when somebody says a lawsuit can be brought against the board, the lawsuit is not again brought up against the board. It's brought up against every homeowner. You're suing yourself. And that's usually a threat to try to get the point across. And usually when I hear that, I personally stop listening. Because at this point, we're going to take desperate steps to get our point across. I think that's unfair to the board. I would have appreciated an avenue to a little more concern and a little more long-term process to work with the homeowners in the area and to see what could be done to actually have a resolution that everyone would be happy with. not just go ahead and push it through. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to comment for homework?
Steve, can you hold?
That's fine. Leonard Tim, 411 Campus Street. I'm, like Paul, a 18-plus year resident of Celebration. I think the issue here actually comes down to freedom of choice. And freedom of choice actually amounts to you have different amenities in different places, and if you don't like the pool in, what's the round one? Is that East Village? I'm sorry, I confuse East and South all the time. If you don't like the little round pool in East Village, you go to a different pool. If you don't like the playground in Long Meadow, go to a different playground. If it doesn't meet your standards, go to a different playground. As long as the playground meets the Parks and Recreation's definition of appropriate surfaces for a playground, I think the sand in Long Meadow should be left there. It's been there for the entire time. We've only had a recent possible report, because there is no direct link out if an infection occurred the same day. That tells me it probably was not from there, because that parasitic infection that I understand takes a 2 to 3 day period before you start noticing the welts. It has to go in and such. That same parasitic infection that I recall reading about on the front porch is also passed in daycare centers. Anywhere you touch, pretty much, you can pass out a bottle. The short part of what I'm saying is it's a viable surface. It's been there. If it needs some additional, if it needs to be dug out and resanded this year, let's do that. But it's a freedom of choice type issue. And as far as, boy, we're going to sue you, well, from what I've heard, is everyone I've seen in here that's against the sand seems to know or see some possible risk of being there. So if they let their children stay there, I think you'd have at least a contributory negligence part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak for homeowner comment? Yes, sir.
I was just going to respond to something because I felt like...
Unfortunately, we can't respond. Yeah, if we might be able to take you at the end. Yes, sir.
Make sure everyone has a chance to speak. Sorry.
Hello, Kevin Plummer. I live at 1103 Roseland Way. Obviously, East Park is the closest for me, but I have driven around with my kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And as all this has kind of come to light, it's a little bit of a shame for me, because my kids really want to play at that park, but I hesitate to let them. My wife especially is very concerned about their health and safety, as it's what mothers do, whether it's rational or not. You know, who's to say you're a parent? You love your kids, the most important thing in your life. So if you are aware of a potential hazard, it's in the back of your mind if you see your kids playing in that sand. Now, it just is. You can't help but wondering, am I letting my child play somewhere where they shouldn't? So, obviously, as been noted, you have free choice. We go to another park, we often do, we have to, actually. So, but try to explain that to a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old when you're driving in a car, that you can't play there because you don't think it's safe.
Like driving a car.
It's difficult enough as it is to be a parent, but then try to explain why you can't, because of the potential harm, whether it is or not. The knowledge is out there now, whether it's polluted or tainted, the park surface of the park to something that's to a higher degree of safety. Whether it's safe or not now, I think everybody here could agree that there is a safer surface available. And so if we have that potential to make something better, why not make improvements rather than just hold on to what we have in the past because that's what we had, even though we might know there's a better surface. That's all I'm asking. So we may consider something perhaps better if possible.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to have a comment? Yes.
Say louder, please.
Rebecca Newman, I live at 815 Lake Evelyn. I have 3 children in this town, 2 of which are still at the age where they like to go and play in the parks. And I will say, as a parent, I prefer them not to play at Longmeadow for all of the reasons described. And in past, when one of them picked up a parasitic infection a few years ago, I suspected that's the park it was from. We lived closer to it at that point. But it is the main park closest to the school. I realise it's an expensive decision. And if you don't have children that age, it may not be number one on your concerns, but I think it is a genuine concern on the part of many parents in this town. And if there's money to do it and we can resurface it to the extent that we can use it better, then I think that's what we should do as homeowners. Thanks.
Thank you. Dory, that's something?
Dory Moyer, 515 Mirasol Circle. I lived on Longmeadow, in 520 Longmeadow, for 10 years. I had 2 of my own children and 5 nieces and nephews as before school and after school mom. They played in that park. They never got sick in Longmeadow. I have a dog. I walk my dog probably 5, 6, 7 times a day. I never saw a cat, a dog, or a raccoon in that park. As a matter of fact, I never saw a cat in the neighborhood the whole time I lived there in 10 years. I saw them in the windows, but I've never seen them outside. And I understand people have concerns. The North Village, the reason that was changed out to the turf was because of the bees, the boring bees that were going in there. So that's why it was changed, and that's when we changed it, that the people said, please don't change the whole park, please leave a sand box in each one, and that's why that was done. But it was all sand at that time, but it was because of the bees it was changed. So there are 2 sides, but this is, as Tom, and I don't always agree with you, Tom.
Nobody does.
I don't always agree with Tom, but it's interesting that of being there 10 years and being in the town for 13 years, that this is the first time I've ever heard, and being on Parks and Recreation for 13 years, this is the first time it has become a problem. That's a little confusing to me to change them all out. Maybe we can change some of them for some reason or another, but this is all very new, so it's kind of difficult to make a judgment until we have all the facts.
Thank you, Dory. Is there anyone else that would like to comment? Yes, PJ.
PJ Cartwright, 1000 Via Capri Lane, 102. I have a question actually for management. It looks like we're trying to solve the symptom and the disease without attacking the source. So my question to management is, are the cats that are the violators are wild cats? Has animal control been contacted? Have we tried to remove the wild cats in the area that are causing the problem? Because if they're resident cats, then they should be on a leash. And I also know, having done property management for 27 years, that wild cats, if fed by members of the community, will return to the scene. So my question to management is, has any proactive animal control efforts been made? Thank you.
It's one thing to PJ's comments. The Osceola County ordinances only specify a dog leash law. It does not specify cats on leash. However, owners are responsible for cleaning up their animals, whether it's dogs, cats, or whatever.
I've seen.
Or if you have a pet raccoon. Yeah, pet raccoon.
I've seen 3 rodent cats around Longmeadow.
I'm not arguing that all. I'm just saying that.
I think I don't know if management's prepared to make a statement in regards to the animal control procedures. I think one of the things is that we haven't had a feral cat problem reported. We've had a poop problem reported. So we've gone out and trapped the poop, and per the guidelines of why do I keep forgetting the name of the agency? What's the name of the agency? Playground safety people that know a lot more than me about all this stuff. There's a procedure in place on how to remove the sand, what sort of a radius has to be done, and then sanitation agent or whatever has to be put down for it. I think that's been done, but I think it is something that we can look into as far as if it's animal control.
We've started maintaining these sandboxes and sand surfaces more closely in the last few weeks, haven't we? Or are we raking them every morning?
I'm going to refer to Todd here. We go out as part of our daily checks to see the surface, how it looks, and then...
Are we discovering?
Todd, can you do me a favor and come up? I know you'd love to be on the camera at the podium.
The maintenance team does go out each morning to check on the sand boxes, the sand surfaces at the playgrounds. Occasionally the volleyball areas, but they haven't been, as hot a topic lately. But they check all the playgrounds every day. If there's displaced mulch, they rake the mulch to keep the safety surface. Sand, it doesn't get displaced that often, so minimal raking, especially at Long Meadow, because it stirs up a lot of the leaves and things that are naturally in there.
Well, my question for you is, has there been any reports by your maintenance people regarding finding feces in any of these areas?
It's difficult for them. They have reported back when it's been reported on the cell service. But
have they
going
out
out
the rakings?
No. Only when it's been circled and you have to dig down and find it. But walking through it at a glance like they would for any other debris is not a visible thing. It'd be very time consuming.
And Todd,
they're digging down to find it.
No.
Wait until this is on the agenda to ask these questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, thank you, Todd.
You're welcome.
Anything else for homeowner comments this evening? You have a minute.
You have 1 minute.
You have 1 minute, sir.
I do a few properties, so I don't think it's me a second. Adam Parrish will do 603 Market Street is the other property I own. But we live at 511 campus, which we also own. And my daughter's 6, I have another daughter that's 6 months. And we actually do use the park. And we actually do let her play in the sand. And I'm sure a lot of parents will roll their eyes, but I've also let my daughter drink Coca-Cola. I've also let her eat junk food. I've also let her do many other things she probably should. And but at the end of the day, we do use the park on a daily or bi-daily basis. Not 48 hours goes by without using that park. And like others have said, I wouldn't want to have to tell my child why we can't go there. I don't want to tell my child that there's no sand there anymore, because she does enjoy it and she does like it. And the concern I have is exactly what Leonard said about choice. And when I sat on this board, it was always about giving residents as much as we could of choice, making sure there was something for everyone. And it really disheartens me to even consider the fact that we're removing a choice from our neighborhood when there are every asset that's in that park, and as Joseph reminded me yesterday, with the exception of a spinning seat, is available in every other park in town.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Any other comments for homeowner comment? You've already spoken, unfortunately. And so, all right. Anyone else? All right. So we'll move. Was the meeting properly noticed? One of the things that I will ask, we're going to be doing the Pledge of Allegiance now. If there's anyone that wants to leave prior to the Pledge of Allegiance, please leave now instead of doing so during the pledge itself. So I'll give you the opportunity. All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 7:07 p.m., if that's okay with Rachel. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion.
All right, and a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say, did we want to move anything up? So since we have a lot of people here for a certain reason, maybe it'd just be nicer if we moved that closer.
All right, so you want to move number 6 in front of number 1?
Yeah, anything related to sand or mulch.
How about 5?
The earlier, so.
How about 5, 6, and 8? So we'll do it in that order and then go to 1. Is there a second on that? All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the August 25th, 2015 meeting? And a second?
Second.
All those in discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, committee reports. Architectural review, ARC?
Do we have an ARC representative tonight? I don't believe so, no.
All righty, how about covenants? Our favorite committee.
It's not as riveting as sand, but
sorry,
it's second in line. Hello, everybody. My name is Rob LaFlamme. I'm on the Covenants Committee, just here doing the monthly report. I don't have much today, but because we haven't had a meeting in 2 months due to a Florida statute change of the process of fining. So tonight will be the first night where the new process goes into effect, where the board will actually implement the fines, and the Covenants Committee will either confirm or reject those fines at the next meeting, which will be held here at the 851 building at 6 o'clock on October 14th. That is a schedule change. It's happening on a Wednesday, so mark your calendars. We'd love to have an audience this big at the Covenants Committee, so if you'd like to see how the process works, we invite you out. Lastly, every month we try to give just a general update on how to remain in compliance. And for the month of September, we really, as we approach the holiday seasons, we know a lot of us will be going to visit off. And so we just want to reiterate the responsibility of maintaining your home when you're not in town, as well as from a safety perspective, if there's any interest from the community of installing cameras, to really work with Town Hall first by submitting an ARC form prior to doing the work. They can help guide you in helping choose the best possible location of those cameras, so that way it would be more likely to be approved than to choosing something that would be maybe more visible. So continue to utilize our staff members here at Town Hall and submit those ARC forms, which can be located on the front porch.
Thank you. Any questions for Robert?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Robert. Parks and Rec. Recreation, sorry. I won't abbreviate it.
Good evening, I'm PJ Cartwright. I'm a member of the Parks and Recreation Committee. You have the minutes of the last meeting, which is attached and as available to everyone online. Just a couple updates. Good Neighbor Day yesterday was a great success. We had approximately 700 residents come and meet their neighbor on Meet Your Neighbor Day, Good Neighbor Day. So we want to thank staff and Mr. Hot Dog for appearing at the event. Our next big event is, of course, this Saturday. It's our annual porch and yard sale. And those people who wish to utilize the spaces available at Town Hall, we have made some requests of the 4 sheriff's officers that will be handling the traffic to allow people a sufficient time to get in, unload their past has been a. And of course, all you have to do is pay your $10 and list what you're selling, and then your address will go on the map, and not only will the maps be available on Saturday, but will also be available online. And they're working on getting it on SightSafe, right? Okay. Then the, let's see, Fall Festival will be the Saturday before Halloween, the week before Halloween, and it'll be at Lakeside Park. We've done some rearranging so that the stage will actually be utilized in the center of the asphalt area as opposed to the stage at Jones Building. So to keep the music and the festivals and the vendors, you know, a little bit more together instead of having it apart. We're very happy performing. We have 4 or 5 people that have already signed up to have booths. We have interest of 10 or 12 more, and we're looking for that to be expanded. The Girl Scouts will have the pumpkin patch as they have done in the past. And there's a lot of activities going on that are theme-oriented for that particular fall festival, so we're looking forward to that.
If someone's interested in a booth, they should contact Town Hall?
Right, Town Hall has the forms, and it's $50, and you got a tent, a table, 2 chairs. And,
Can you say the dates one more time on the Fall Festival?
the 24th, October 24th. It's 1 week before Halloween. Okay. Founders Day is going to be the weekend after Veterans Day this year. The Galoo concert will be on Friday night. For those the table reservations, you can reserve a table of 4 for $25, a table for 6 for $35, and reservations will start on Thursday. And if it is any indication of past years, do it by Friday or you may not get a table. And they go very quickly. I'm really excited because it's a personal favorite of mine that Four Rivers will be providing the food for our Founders Day picnic. So we're encouraging all residents to take advantage of that and come meet your neighbors. We're going to be setting up some extra tents this year, not over the tables, but in an area so that people can come, have your food, and then hang around, meet your neighbors, bring your own chairs, drag it over, sit under the sun, because we usually have really good weather, and it's a little warm that time. And of course, we're taking applications for participants in the Veterans Day Parade. And we're looking for a great Veterans Day Parade since it will be actually the Saturday after Veterans Day, so we won't be competing with the Veterans Day parades of Kissimmee and St. Cloud and some of the others that utilize some of the people that we would like to see in our parade. And I do have to give credit to staff because we had a great 4th of July parade, and we're looking for an expanded parade on Veterans Day as well. And in the spirit of giving homeowners choice, since Robert has moved his committee meeting to Wednesday the 14th, if you don't like that, you can come and join the Parks and Rec, because that's our normal meeting on October 14th, Wednesday, 6:30 here at Town Hall.
Equally as fun.
Pardon?
Equally as fun.
Equally as fun.
Perfect.
Thank you.
There are no other committees. Financial reports.
As of August 31st, 2015, we have $2.1 million in cash in our operating account. Income came in under budget by $27,000. Our working capital income for the month was $41,000, and year-to-date is $292,000, which is about $70,000 over budget. August expenses were $331,000, and they were under budget by $26,000, which was primarily due to administrative expenses being under budget for legal and professional expenses. Collections, accounts receivable as of August 31st was almost $1.1 million. $525,000 of that is accounts receivable due to the fines. Reserves as of 8/31 is $2.8 million. Our working capital year-to-date is $1.2 million, and our contingency reserves are $367,000.
Perfect. Any questions on the financial report?
I have 2 questions. The overage for administration, this is $4,350.
Yes, I did say under. It's over. And those legal fees, it's primarily legal fees, and they're charged for us going after collections. I say going after collections, but pursuing collections according to our collections policy, and they are added to the homeowner ledger.
And then also on the year-to-date budget for bad debt, the actual is $226,000 variance. That is on the back of the 4th page.
The back of the...
So, it's under the operating statement detail.
I'm looking for it here.
The back of the 4th page.
Got it?
Got it. And it's down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items down.
Okay. Bad debt, less bad debt. We are over budget by $47,000, and that is because when we...
Oh, wait, I don't know if you're looking at the right thing.
Oh.
Are you talking about bad debt recovery or less bad debt?
So it's the,
Is it the $57,000?
no, it's the 303,890.
On your first column?
On the first column are year-to-date actuals.
You were just looking at the monthly variance
380,
versus
yes.
choosing a year-to-date actual.
Oh, okay, year-to-date.
This guy. Yeah, 303, no.
Right.
Okay.
And what that's attributable to, just so you know, is we actually write off the bad debt when we apply the fines, because truly the fining isn't for us to make money, it's for us to get people to comply with the use restrictions in our documents.
Right.
So that's what that's related to, and it's a negative because when we write it off, it's coming off of our income as well.
Okay, so it's just a lot of what we expected?
Right. And
okay, that's okay, off now. Okay, great. That's all you have.
Any other questions on the financial report? All right, management report. Mr. Waring.
Well, it has my name next to it. Susan's on a roll, so I'm going to let her
Let me
begin
find my
the
place.
management report.
Okay, let's talk about the service areas. On Academy Row, as everyone probably knows, we're working on the roof project. That's going according to schedule, and we estimate that it'll be completed by around Halloween. By Halloween, we hope. In Charleston
So
Place.
just real quick for those folks that might be a little geographically challenged in the community. Those are the light up signs that you see currently on Celebration Avenue for the closing of Mulberry that you see up there right now. So that is the particular roof replacement project, and if you drive by there, you can see that there's definitely something going on with the roof. So that's that.
I do have a question though. Do we need those light signs that are sitting there that are telling people that they're detours? Because it seems pretty obvious and the town is pretty small, but it seems like pretty big flashing signs for such a small community. It's probably pretty standard when they do it, but is that required by the county?
They're required by the county, yes. So
We contract with a group that goes by county standards for what they need to do.
It seems like overkill.
it is a big sign. There's no question about it.
If you were living right next to it, you might not think so. I don't. Right. Not that I do, but I'm speaking for the residents.
Certainly. Charleston Place, we have a mailbox that has some issues with the parts don't all work, and so the post office notified us, and we've ordered the mailboxes, and that's also on your agenda. In the East Village duplexes, there are some fences that are deteriorating. They're wooden fences. We, again, have an action item to replace those. Upgrade project that has been in process for some time. It's been approved by the ARC, and again, it's an action item in your on your agenda. And then also in Parkview Townhomes, there's some picket fences that need to be replaced. Again, they're rotting, so again, an action item on your agenda. And at the Spring Lake Townhomes, there are several areas that have some drainage issues, so the sod's dying, some plants are dying, and we are working with David Weekly Homes to resolve the issue moving forward. What else do I have here?
That's it for now.
That's it
I'll
for
get back
now.
to you in a second.
Okay, thank you.
Just so that we're clear too, I know there have been some questions, because I had this question. We're replacing the fences in a lot of these areas due to rot, but we're not replacing them with wood. We're replacing them with the ARC approved vinyl.
That's
fences.
correct.
So in theory, we should get we're improving that, right? Okay, perfect.
And I will also add that we're coming in under budget per the reserve study on all the projects.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I'm going to talk to you quickly about the administrative operations and a heavy focus on our technology initiative. And a lot of this bleeds into Eric's goal area number 2, so I'll update you some now, and then he may have some more stuff to talk to you about.
I just be quiet.
Okay.
By that time of the meeting, I'll be done. So, you know.
The first section is Comcast, and I know you've heard a lot about Comcast, but I did speak with Amy Westwood this past week, and they are in the final stages. They were at the last couple calls, and they have committed to provide an updated draft as of this week, and that will have any updated versions that can come back to management and then forwarded to the board to look at, with possibly being able to, if discussions needed at a workshop, and then hopefully something to vote on at the end of October. So we're in the final stages of the Comcast.
Quick question on that one. We're almost out of money on that.
We are, and if we can't get to come to some sort of an agreement that makes sense, that Amy is going to recommend, that's where we're either going to have to ask you for more money, or we're going to have to be done with that initiative. CCMC server, it's now fully functional, or Celebration is now fully functional on the new CCMC server that was purchased by CCMC, the hardware. We have our VPN connections to CCMC. We do have some SharePoint site configuration going on at CCMC, and we did provide a site map. So they're working on that, so that we'll have a test site. Patrick's going to be putting in some extra hours on the weekend to finalize anything that we need to do on our side to have it all up and ready to go for the complete transition. Online registration, online calendar, and we're easing it in to make sure that we don't make any mistakes as we do this, and we don't overwhelm. So we're currently looking at putting in all of our youth sports fall leagues, and they're all being entered in right now, and generating any other reports from that, permitting from that, those types of things, as kind of our initial test run with it. But it is a live database, it's up and running. Patrick's finalizing credit card processing, and all the website implementation is taking place. Speaking of website, as we start ending the journey on some of our technology initiatives with public stuff up and running and RecPro on the way, CCMC server connection, we will start looking into more research for website and website providers to try and update our website. And the goal here is to provide a website that allows more content management from management standpoint, to where we can update and change things. And then we want something that is user-friendly on a mobile device, a phone, an iPad. We have a lot of folks that are utilizing our self-service app now, and a lot of widgets that you can click on the self-service app that will take you back to our website. So this is the next logical step in that transition. And with the last update that I have is Celebration Community Development District is going to be discussing the special event policy. That will take place on October 13th, and I will be attending that meeting to be part of it. And that is okay. I'll turn it back over to Susan.
What's your name again? Steve. Steve and I met with Davey, our landscaper, to discuss landscaping issues. We actually met with Todd, and Steve and myself met with Garth. I'm not sure what's Garth's last name? Reinhardt. Okay, we met with him to discuss the landscaping issues, and he actually took our concerns and came back and met with Steve and I on Friday. Was it last Friday? I think it was the week before. But Garth has inserted himself back into the management of the landscaping here in Celebration. He is doing weekly inspections with the project manager. Jordan, who is our project manager, has resigned, but they will find a suitable replacement for him, and Garth will personally train him and give him the attention that he needs to get up and running. Todd Haskett, our operations manager, will be doing a bi-weekly inspection with them. Steve and I will be doing quarterly inspections. The first one will be this Friday, and Todd's going to go with us. And Davey is also hiring a quality control person, and that person will ride with them early in the week, Mondays, to be able to to do a work plan, and then they will follow up every day to make sure those things that were on the plan are done and completed. And they've also had some issue with fertilization, being able to have adequate staff to do that, and they have hired someone to come in, a subcontractor under them, to do the fertilization and weed and insect control for us. And they have increased their staff for us.
So just so for folks that aren't aware of kind of how the hierarchy works here, and correct me when I start to go astray, some of the names that you heard, Garth is one of our contractors that works for Davey Tree. So he's not actually a town hall staff member, but he's part of the contracting team. And Todd, who you met tonight, so he's right there if anyone didn't see him first. But he's actually on CCMC staff who will be overseeing making sure that they're actually doing what we're paying them to do. So there's that check and balance in between there.
And that's it for me. I think we're done.
I think we are.
A bunch of really cool things, it sounds like. Are we any kind of sponsorship to offset the cost of the association? I think it's a good opportunity. It seems like a win-win opportunity.
I don't believe we have any sponsorships for Drug Friday, not if I'm wrong, but we do have the fees that we get back from the food truck. So we do have some cost recovery.
Yeah, but, so, I mean, when you're adding Joe Magic and have a movie or that kind of stuff, I could see very easily you want to real estate agent, sponsoring the movie. I think it seems like a natural fit that will enhance probably the experience and also give some money back to the community. So I think it's not like it's in anybody's face. It sounds like a perfect natural fit for that.
I agree. And JR's reaching out, looking for any type of sponsorship opportunities possible. You'll see that Fall Festival has some sponsorships. So we do have some sponsorships that are coming in, and he's actively pursuing them.
So be more specific. I'd like to see personally, because we've been talking about it a long time and it hasn't happened. So now we're doing the movie. I mean, it costs something to set up the movie, whatever it is. There's going to be extra costs to do these things, which, by the way, every bit of the community, I think it's the biggest event. People love it. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great idea, but I'd like to see us actually do that. We have a department that does it for Celebration News, but I'd like to see us somehow offset the cost and really give it to the community. I think they've come up with good ideas, but it's just, again.
Yes.
Questions for the management report? All right, so we're going to move on to the action items as the which is approval of $3,080 and no cents expenditure for playground mulch installation at Lakeside Park Playground. This is a CROA reserved expense. It's on tab 5 for those with paper.
So
all right, we have a motion, a second.
Second.
All right, and discussion.
Just a quick clarification on that one. That is it is not to replace, it is to add to make sure that it meets safety standards,
It's
correct?
to replenish, yes. You have to freshen it up, and it's time to replenish it. That part has existing mulch.
There's some pictures of our...
I just wanted to clarify, not just for us, but for the residents.
I think to clarify further, it's not rubberized mulch either. It is engineered playground mulch.
Wood.
It's a wood mulch.
Wood product, yeah.
And I did speak certification that it's safety approved for us. So it was very nice.
All right. Any further discussion?
Yeah, question.
Yes, sir.
Management recommendation was to go with $42.90 expenditure.
Originally, they changed on that was on the first one, then they changed to this one. Yeah, that was a good. We had the other bid was recommended, and then the lower bid on the management.
Okay.
So
That was me. I wrote the wrong number down, so I fixed it, and you have a paper copy.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're doing a stellar job, Susan. I'm not
Thank
saying
you.
that because we have a high representative in the audience.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Jack, you good?
I'm good.
All right. Any further discussion?
Eric, can we ask you, who made the motion?
Debbie and Jack both motioned.
Yeah, then
Sound like
then
a
I second.
And so let's have Debbie make the motion, if you're okay with that, Debbie. And Jack can second. We okay with that, Jack?
I'm good.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Item 6, Approval of up to $5,125 and no cents expenditure to convert the sand to certified playground safety mulch surfacing and repair the poured-in-place surface at Long Meadow Playground. This is a CROA Reserve expense tab 6 for those of paper. Is there a motion? All right, does anyone have any questions or discussion?
Can ask Steve to be very specific on what we're doing here and kind of so everybody can see all now?
The way the agenda item is written is to have about 4 to 6 inches of the sand removed and the same type of mulch that what we have at Lakeside be added to this playground, and then to patch up any of the pour and play areas that need patching.
That's the rubberized surface that's mixed in with the sand. Sure, go ahead.
I know this has been a very difficult topic for everybody. I can wait until anyone else has any.
Go for it.
I do care about the safety of our children. I raised 4 children in this town. When I started researching this, because obviously we're concerned when something's pointed out to us. I'm not a sand expert, but I did call people, reach out to people, and also reach out to members of our community. One of the things I saw is that the victims of Sandy Hook Elementary, 26 children that were killed, there's 26 playgrounds being built in their memory. And when I spoke to someone on that project, it's a very touching project. I think it's helping the families heal, but they also have playgrounds. Some are the playground mulch, some are sand, some are the rubberized. They have very different options. They gave the communities a choice. Celebration is built on the spirit of neighborliness and the ideals of community, family, and integrity. It truly, as board members, were elected and tasked with the crucial responsibility to uphold these values, to represent the perspectives and values of our broader community, our families, our children, and our citizens. And I think when we allow the minority to drown out the majority, we end up with policies that tear at the fabric of our community. Policies, for example, where people aren't given a choice of what to bring in their lunchbox to school. We're here to represent and care for a very special community, a community with over 10,000 people who trust us to take care of this wonderful place for them. And I don't believe we can allow a minority to dictate to 10,000 people. It's my privilege and unique responsibility to take a stand and be the voices of a broader majority. And I would like to see the sand in Long Meadow stay, and that is what I will be voting tonight. Thank you.
All right. We still don't have a motion or a second. Is there any further discussions or questioning in regards to the sand, to item number 6?
I just have one question. Have we reached out to the residents of Long Meadow?
I have. Yeah.
Well,
I spoke to
besides Paul, but I'm just saying, this changes the character of that playground. I'm not opposed to removing the sand, but I don't consider this to be an emergency that we have to act immediately to do this. I think we need to explore this with the residents there to find out what their desires are, because they're the ones going to be looking at this full time.
I did speak to 4 residents personally on Long Meadow, and John Gephardt spoke to every individual on Long Meadow that faces the park, and it was 100% no. And John Gephardt is the president of CDD.
Any further discussion or questioning in regards to number 6?
I just wanted to just make a couple of statements. First, I don't think there's anyone on this board that is taking the health and safety of our children for granted. I think we always will put those children that are helpless first. That being said, we have all, to contrary belief, I don't think there's anyone on the board that hasn't reached out to experts with regards to sand surfacing, mulch surfacing. We really have taken this very seriously. And I don't want to ever make a resident feel like we have taken this lightly. We've all done our research. We understand that Florida is a little unique because it's very moist, and right now we are in the wet season. That being said, sand is an industry standard. It is all over the place. The key is proper maintenance. First of all, thank you very much for bringing it to the board's attention that it was even an issue. It hadn't been brought to the attention before. As soon as it was brought to the attention, the one thing that I will give CCMC and Town Hall credit for is they immediately responded. They shut down the sandboxes, they closed off the area, and made sure that every single child and parent that went over there knew that that was an area that we need to research. So kudos to Town Hall and to the maintenance staff for making sure that you made sure that you went above and beyond to make sure that our kids were safe. That being said, they also researched kind of what's the standard of care for sand? Were we missing something within the maintenance protocol? They identified that there were some maintenance issues that needed to be resolved. As a result, our maintenance team has 100% responded immediately when there's been a cell service ticket that has been processed. They are there immediately. That next morning, I walk by Long Meadow every single day for the last 3 weeks. I have go from my house over in Teal, walk right across Long Meadow, right past the sand. I see it every morning that there is somebody out there working. So I'm very confident in saying that Town Hall and CCMC is working very diligently to make sure that they are maintaining that property to the standard of the industry. That being said, I don't want to make I don't want to change the dynamic of a park until it's actually, till we're there. I don't think we're there yet. We do have some other surfacing issues. I think that's something that we need to do further research on. I'm not going to do a knee-jerk, I'm not in favor of doing a knee-jerk reaction now that we are doing what the industry standard of maintenance is.
All right, any further discussion or comments?
Eric, it says that the poured-in-place surface needs some repairs. It's hard to tell in the picture. What's the extent of those repairs, just to fix that issue?
Well, it's approximately $2,400 to repair, and there's some holes and some scuffs and things like that.
Discovered during your usual maintenance routine, because you're checking all the playgrounds the last 2 months, correct?
Because that's included in the scope of this project.
Yes.
And Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not replacing the entire poured-in-place surface. It's repairing the areas. I was there directly prior to the meeting, and I saw that there was a couple areas that were worn, and those were the areas that were just fixed kind of as a spot repair, correct?
Yes. Okay. So, I have no questions. Not surprised, but so I have a couple comments also for those out there too. I look at this in a couple ways. First, let me ask Cal, this specific item, forget the discussion we've had overall, is to do exactly what again? It's to repair. It's to repair some surface and also to put mulch in.
It's just for the mulch.
To remove the sand.
Okay, so my question would be, is really, this is an action item, and I think that's maybe misleading. My question is, how did it become an action item? Because we never discussed it. The last time we were here was, I think you were gone, and I thought it was a part of the management report, and I thought we'd actually sit down and make it part of a discussion.
A workshop,
so we can actually talk to the community and figure out and come with a plan, because one of my concerns is, first, I'm not sure we want to replace sand with mulch. You know what I mean? If we're going to do something, let's do it right. You know what I mean? We should be leading as opposed to following in the world of building and maintenance, and we're celebration. So I think that in terms of what we're doing, band-aiding something, for the sake of doing something. So I'm not for this in particular because I'm not sure we're putting the best surface in there. If we're going to change the surface, should we put the best surface in? Then there's a discussion: should we change the surface itself? That's a different story. But I mean, we've jumped to an action item, I think, where we probably should have put it on an agenda, talked about it more, gotten some more input from the community, even Long Meadow, talked to the residents of Long Meadow for sure. And then also, Debbie said that majority of residents, or say this, and a minority were listening to minority. I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't know.
Actually, to speak to that, I can honestly say that for every resident that I have heard from that is in favor of replacing it, I have heard just as many saying, please leave it alone.
I shouldn't comment about the tennis courts very much because I don't play tennis. Now, so I shouldn't be commenting about the surface. Now, I'm not saying you don't have the right to do it, you know what I mean, anything like that. What I mean is, I'm not the expert in tennis, and I'm not playing tennis. And if they say that the lights are unsafe or things are going on, I'll defer to those people. But I would say, is it a majority of the kids that are using the park, do they feel the same way? And I don't know.
I didn't ask people.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm not there yet.
I think, yeah.
No, my own wife, by the way, we have in our own household, she told me, fine, Sam, she's, different story. But at the other end, I feel the same way you do, that maybe there's different service. I used to lifeguard for a long time back in the day at Disney when I started when I was 18 years old. And when
That's 2 years ago, right?
It was not that long ago. And when somebody pooped in a pool, we didn't give a CROA, right? Yeah, exactly. At all, because it just went on. But things have changed in some time. So I'm not saying I don't have all the answers. Again, my parents used to say to me, why are you putting a seatbelt on your kid? We grew up, we didn't have a problem, we all survived. My dad still says that, by the way, which is quite boring. But, I agree what he says. You're right. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't be looking for the best service. So I would say that, I don't know, and most of the parents that I've spoken to, and by the way, a lot of them aren't here, and I've spoken to them, I'm surprised that they've actually said the same thing that some of these residents have, that we think that some minority residents have said some of the same thing. It surprised me, because I didn't know about this issue before you brought it up either. So for me, I'm a no on this because, first of all, maybe if we're going to do something right, let's do it right. And I think we need more discussion on what should be for the community. And maybe it's not something that needs to be done right away. And maybe this is something that, and we have a master plan task force we're working on 2016, we're working on 2017. We're working on these dates that are really, that are in the community that could improve it. Is there a way to improve Long Meadow that really says, this is what the next thing is in Celebration? We're talking about, by the way, and if you don't know already, in some locations, we're moving, say, the kiddie pool in South Village and putting splash pads. At the end of the day, some residents might have an issue with that, but the fact is, the standard today is probably splash pads and not kiddie pools. The standard today is probably not sand or something else also. So I would personally like to talk to the residents in Long Meadow for one, and then also I would like to put we do moving forward and not throw in. To me, it's kind of like we're thinking we're compromising. At the end of the day, we're making nobody happy, and we're not even making the kids happy, because I don't know too many kids that like playing on that. We have it in some locations, but in that kind of place, that's that location, you have to have the equipment that goes with the surface, and I'm not sure, so for me, I go back to, we are maybe doing an adequate job. By the way, when I had to have kids, I have an 8-year-old, I have a 16-year-old, and I have a 12-year-old. So we played on every surface, and we still do. We still go out and we do that. And I know that when I've been to the sand, I've been to the sand, I'm like, this is pretty bad. You know what I mean? This is pretty ugly. And over the years, it's been green, it's been gross, it's been things. So I haven't been happy with it over the years, but it's really, I'm glad that we've now gotten to a maintenance issue, that maybe we're fixing it better, doing it better, and I think we have to, that's an important piece of it. But I would say that for me, I would love to see this as an agenda item on a workshop to discuss further, and then add it to a master plan, task force also, and not make it an action item right now until we decide it's an action item, so we don't cause community upheaval and feel like we're not listening to anybody and doing it quickly. The other thing I would say too is, can we use Davy Tree? I know we have limited staff. We can't have a lot of times where maybe when we do get the cell service, we can send somebody out. But can we contract Davy Treat every morning to go through? I mean, when I was, back in the day, Disney, we used to go through the sand. We used to sand pro the sand every morning and do that kind of stuff. And maybe we can get Davy to do some of that stuff every single morning to give our maintenance staff less work later on in the day and that kind of stuff. So I think immediate maybe something we may want to do is talk to Davey about helping us supplement some of the maintenance work. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
Todd, I won't make you get up. I'll repeat it. When we get a report on cell service in regards to error within a sandbox playground, who responds? Is it a town hall staff member or is it the Sparkle team from Davie?
It is town hall staff.
Okay, so Todd said it was a town hall staff member that responds for that. So I don't know what the Sparkle team does. I don't know if that's something that we could add to their.
What is the Sparkle team?
It's in our management report.
Yeah.
The Sparkle team is responsible for those cleaning, making the town sparkle.
Right.
It said Sparkle team, right? I'm not crazy. I am crazy.
I've never seen them before.
The Sparkle team's responsible for the spot type of cleaning. They also respond to like trash debris. Essentially, I know this sounds horrible, and I'll get probably put up on a stake for this, but they're doing the things that probably other residents would just do normally, like pick up trash, or if you see something on the sidewalk, you pick it up, or you sweep glass or whatever. You pick up that kind of stuff. That's what the Sparkle team's doing to kind of help supplement that service to make the community
But Gerard does some of that for CDD. Yeah. I think Davey probably does some of that for us too, I would assume. But maybe we can literally say, every morning, this is your job to go through, start the day, ABC, that will help the Sparkle team do their sparkling. And, just as that, because what I've seen is we've done better than we have in the past, which is really, really good. Obviously, there may be bigger issues, but, I think
we don't have a motion and we don't have a second. Does anyone else want to say anything?
I guess I want to ask, is your ultimate goal for this to be replaced with the certified mulch, or do you actually want the $75,000 surface or the whatever, it's $100,000 for
I guess
Long Meadow?
The mulch will be so much better than the cement because the kids will not dig in it, and have the pieces.
But you want to make sure that everything is the way you want it, and then people don't have a choice to go to the sand or not? Is that your ultimate?
Prevent children from playing.
If we're going to have a discussion, can you approach the podium for it, please?
So every morning, Davy comes to that park. Leaves, right? And then after the leaves are blown, if you take a look at the sand, there's areas that have sand that is scratched in a circle. And if you dig in the center of that circle, that's where you find the cat feces. So the kids, unless I report it on the app, the kids are literally playing in the feces. And if you think that 15 feces have been found over the past 3 weeks, it is a big deal, And you say that you're saying, Debbie, that we're a minority, but really it isn't true. Because I did a poll in the Celebration Moms group. There's 200 moms that are in there, and about 55 people responded. And the overwhelming majority wants the sand removed at Long Meadow.
And I understand that. And I did a poll of 200 residents, and the overwhelming majority of mine wanted the sand to stay. So I think if we add polls,
where is that poll?
Put them together, that
I haven't seen that poll.
I actually called and spoke to 100 people, and then I asked other people to ask 10 people by email. So
really?
I actually,
Okay.
I've been working very hard.
Do we have evidence on that, or?
Right. I just wanted to ask what your ultimate goal was. Thank you.
Sure. Well, my ultimate goal, to answer your question, is to have a surface that is hygienic for the children to play in. And I don't know if the mulch will resolve the issue. Maybe it will. But I'm concerned that the mulch will mix up with the sand that is underneath. And also I'm concerned that the cats and other animals will keep, defecating in the mulch because
So
it's a loose...
the mulch isn't going to be really a solution, is it?
It's a loose surface, so they could dig in. And the problem with that that particular park is that it's surrounded with houses, and I've seen the cats. I've seen them. Maybe they were not there 10 years ago when, you know, some people lived around Long Meadow. Maybe they're here now. Maybe the raccoons were not there 10 years ago. Maybe 10 years ago people didn't communicate. So if one child had a parasite, they wouldn't tell their mom's group that it happened, you know. And now we have a better way to communicate and find out what's going on, and that's probably why
to speak up.
The reason why I brought it up is because I know I have in my close group of friends 2 little girls that have parasites, and there might be more. There might be moms that have miscarriages from playing in that park because they caught toxoplasmosis. We don't know. Nobody knows.
You know what?
Is there feces every morning? Every morning there's feces.
Thank you. Okay.
I could say though, when I had my kids playing in the sand, I've seen, you know, stuff in the sand.
And what do you do?
But I didn't,
Pick it up?
I didn't care actually, unfortunately. But I mean, I know I say that because I'm like, you know, maybe I didn't know about it or anything like that, but you know, now that I look back and I go, I've seen, you know, water and what was green with algae, and I just kick it around. You know, and when they play volleyball, they kick it around. They don't care as much. But hey, no, I've seen stuff. I mean, we've all seen it in our last, you know, video for 6
And I realized that last time
I didn't think of it. I didn't make it a big issue. You know what I mean? But
I feel that
you're wrong.
No, I know. But I feel that as representatives, you're representing the residents, and the residents that are using the parks, they're not happy with the sand. Those are the residents that are using them. It's not the people who live around Long Meadow and don't have any children and don't let their kids. They don't have any children in the sand. That's the reason.
One quick thing. I want to make sure you understand that we all on the board really do put children's safety first. I'm sorry you don't agree with our decision tonight, but I'm assuring you that we are continuing with standard protocol above and beyond what we've done, Pat, before you were.
So the standard protocol has been implemented 3 weeks ago, and literally every morning I drop off my son at kindergarten, I go check the sand, and there's feces in the sand.
But
so what kind of maintenance is that?
Obviously that's going to happen with mulch, that's going to happen with a solid surface. We cannot stop the cats from defecating.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying.
So replacing the surface may not be the answer. Back to a point
It is because cats like to scratch, dig a hole, poop in the hole, and then cover up.
The issue is that we need to investigate if indeed it is an animal control issue.
Well, I think Adam was about to say, because you said that nobody, that he is one that has a small child that likes playing in the sand.
I know, and just so you know,
there are some,
I just want to add something that yesterday in the Celebration Moms group, there was only one person that voted in favor of keeping the sand, and that is Adam's wife.
And you know what?
Right? So that puts things. And the other 50 people voted against the sand, to remove the sand.
And all of those residents, Bob?
So what I'm
all of those residents?
Most of them probably are, because it's a Celebration Moms group.
Okay, but you're not really sure, but are they homeowners? Yeah, because we're a homeowner association, so we can't represent.
I know, I just feel that as representatives, you should be listening to the residents that are using.
I understand that, and I understand that.
And that's not what you're doing. And I think the numbers are biased, because when you say you did a survey of 200 residents, I'm not believing it.
Your concerns up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Adam?
I can make this really quick. So, as those who know me, and a lot of people new here know me, I'm pretty hard to offend. I will say it's hard to hear every resident, every owner wants this, and I've already said that I'm an owner and live right behind that park, and we're fine with the way it is. And my 6-year-old. And with that, I look at a lot of research, and research is designed, and polls are designed to be neutral. If you've read many of the polls out there, they're biased. So if you really want to get a real poll, spend the money, take a couple grand, and ask real questions of real residents. But that comes with a sampling, and that's what people don't understand. Presidential election polls you see every day on the news are polled by 1,200 people. And PJ Cartwright might be polled, and her representation when they ask her a bunch of questions might represent 18% of the poll that they see, because at that moment in time, that's how many people in the world are like PJ. So you have to go with that bias too. It's hard to offend me. That was a pretty hard one to hear, having sat and worked here as much of that. Yeah, probably so. The last one I'll have on that one is one of the things that came up from this board was always on the dog park. What about fundraising? So if this is that important to that mom's group, and it's that big an expense, $50,000 for a porn play per park, maybe there's some fundraising to do. Put your money where your mouth is.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Go ahead, Diane.
Well, I was going to say, so at this point, we have an item that no one has voted on, so.
Nobody's
Yeah,
motion.
so that's what I wanted to move to. We don't have a motion. We don't have a second.
Well, I would consider one thing, the poured-in-place repair.
Yeah, I agree.
I would make a motion to.
And that's within my spending threshold, so if this agenda item was done, we could still move forward.
And you're talking to reserve.
And we would still.
Anyway, so.
Okay, so we don't need to vote on that one.
Yeah, but what did you say it cost, 20?
It's about 20.
2,400.
So we don't have.
So he can just go ahead with the repair.
We could make the repair. So Eric, if I could recap some of the direction, just to make sure there's no objection from the board. We're going to, town hall staff will speak with residents at Longmeadow and get some feedback from them on their thoughts with sand surfacing. We'll also reach out to Davey, take a look at a cost for ongoing daily proactive.
Just like the golf course.
Right, we'll look at a scope of what needs to be done for ongoing proactive maintenance for the sand there. We'll also reach out to animal control, and we'll try and determine if there is truly a feral cat problem in that area. And then we'll also look at future workshop agendas to be able to add this for discussion points.
Can I add one more thing? I don't know what the age group is. You probably know. The age group that is based for that park that we're talking about, is it, and maybe talking to parents that use that during that age group, whatever fits into that park. I would say that might be good to talk to them too.
Well, I think Dory has done some on-site questioning, and that's probably something that we could work with the Parks and Rec Committee and see if we could do that again. Talk to some of the folks that are utilizing the playground.
Steve, I've got one mistake too. We have overlooked the largest sand area in Celebration, and that's the volleyball courts. Is there an issue with that as well?
I mean, we're going based off of data, and I have 16 cat feces or animal feces work orders submitted since August. I have 0 mulch-related incidents reported, and I have 0 volleyball court incidents reported.
Let's look at the demographics of the volleyball courts too. It's mostly adults. They're standing up on their feet. They're not sitting down. So I think if we're going to tackle what's the biggest issue, first would be this as opposed to that. So.
Okay.
All right. I do want to say one thing though. I want to thank. I know this has been challenging and something that bringing things to our attention. Sometimes, we have very passionate residents. So I'd like to thank you for your work.
Yes.
Well, I think everybody's working to try and find the best solution here.
Another thing to the poured-in-place surface, and the board can correct me if I'm wrong, we would still like management to continue with routine maintenance as well as repair as needed to that playground, which could include repairing of that poured-in-place surface as long as it's within the spending threshold for CCNC.
Absolutely.
Everyone's comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think it tends to.
Yeah, I think it's important that any amenity we have, that we continue to maintain it at the
we're about to vote for
standard.
something else, right?
Exactly. We need to maintain it to the standard in which it was installed at.
Gotcha. All right. So that action item dies on the table. Number 8, which is approval to close and remove the sandbox under the shade structure in North Village Commons Playground. Do I have a motion? All right. Does anyone have any questions or discussion for the North?
Can we have?
Is there a tab? There's no tab.
It's in there. Management report.
Yeah,
Okay. Solution. Option. Wait, where is it?
What page is it?
19 is where we are for the playground safety mulch, and I think the other one. It may not be in this one.
Yeah, the picture was in the last management report. It's the one that's off the ground.
Right.
And there's no, we've had
I saw it,
some
right.
people with sand in there.
So can you give us the background, recommendation, and all that fun stuff?
We have two sandboxes at North Village. The parks are split, so we have one sandbox that has a shade structure over it, and then we have another sandbox that's by itself on the other playground.
How big approximately?
Do you know the measurements, Tom? 8 by 8 by 8.
For both of them?
Yeah.
Not huge.
Yeah. I'm measuring. So they one of them has, the one that does not have the shade cover, has a temporary cover over right now while we identify some permanent solutions for that. I've seen some really neat shade covers that have been kind of emailed back and forth, and I think we're exploring some of those for pricing. The other one, though, we shut it down because it was wet, moldy, some cat feces, those types of things in there. So we shut it down, cleared it out. And we were recommending to just go ahead and remove that one because we already have a sandbox there and put something like a picnic amenity or another type of amenity in that area.
And just so that we're clear, this is the existing sandbox, the one that management's recommending that we close, is the one that's actually closed right now.
It's already closed.
It's just under a temporary closure with the plastic fence around it.
And we wouldn't make that recommendation if there wasn't a sand play area already at that playground, but because there was two, it's an ideal kind of location for another picnic area underneath the shade.
So number 8 says remove, but it doesn't say to add anything or put anything that's placed. So you would be putting something.
We would, yes.
And
Steve, question for you.
Well, yeah, that's the question.
The structure that you're removing, is that sitting already on top of that artificial turf? Or is it dug into it?
It was turfed around, but we still do have some remaining turf.
So we have remaining turf for it?
We could utilize.
What would it cost you to put piece of equipment that is appropriate for celebration there?
Sure, I would say probably no more than $2,000, $2,500 to put something in there.
And then possibly might have to do some rubber a little bit.
Right, just some touch up on it.
So if we gave you up to $3,000 to spend without getting back to us?
We could.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve number 8 with the $3,000 limit.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
All right, so there, Debbie was nay on that one?
Want to save it for maintenance for the other areas.
Gotcha. All right, so we're now jumping back to action item number 1.
I'm sorry, if it could be out of reserves.
Yeah.
You marked out reserves, I would assume, from the area, but if not, then I guess it looks where it's from. I usually do that almost time, so.
Action item number 1, which is approval of $5,380 and no cents expenditure for replacement of 2 wooden privacy fences at the East Village duplexes as a CROA service area reserve expense. This was reported already in the management report. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, action item number 2, approval of $4,070 and no cents expenditure for replacement of 2 wooden picket fences at the Parkview Townhomes. This is a CROA service area reserve expense as noted in the management report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
All right. You'll get one next time, Jim. All discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, action item number 3, approval of $3,412.08 expenditure for replacement of 44 mailboxes and 2 cluster mailbox units at Charleston Place Townhomes. This is a CROA service area operating expense as reported in the management report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, and a second discussion.
Are these new ones rust-free?
I'm not positive, but they're not the metal like this. They're going to have some kind of paint or surface on them. Well, here, we can tell.
Yeah, I was just saying you have the pictures in there.
Yes, we do. Let's see.
Yeah, they're in tab.
I don't think it lists that they're rust-free, but I think it's definitely a question.
And I think the...
Stainless steel and aluminum corrosion-resistant construction. Gotcha.
And for the mailboxes, I know there was some previous discussion in regards to color on those. What are we approving the color? But that's not up to us, that's up to the service area, correct?
Right. We were going to encourage them, or Teresa was going to present to them, our choice also comes in, our recommendation also comes in Celebration Green. And because they're in the back of the units rather than in the front, we were going to give the owners some latitude. Most likely the Celebration Green will be the choice, just because they look better than utilitarian silver mailboxes.
Gotcha. All right, any further discussion?
Yeah, they get a lot hotter.
They also have sandstone.
The heat of the mail.
Heat of the mail? Well, how about you got candy or something?
I'm with you.
It'll melt it. Certainly, get everything involved.
Dave's chocolate. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Action item number 4, approval of $6,134 expenditure for frontage landscaping at Oak Pond Townhomes. This is a CROA service area operating expense.
So moved.
Further discussion?
I just want to point out that Davey was the only person asked to bid on the project, and if we could get 3 bids in the future, I appreciate it.
All right. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Approval of $9,246.55 expenditure for rep services, playground replacement, and repair. All right, and discussion. Steve, I think this was noted in the management report. It's available online. We're the previous broken spring thingy.
It's a updated motor.
Which will
It looks
be
like a little bike.
full motorcycle
Right.
looking thing.
And then the rest of the pieces are all little pieces and parts that are needed. It's built by Rep Services. They come and look at it and they recommend what pieces need to be added. So.
Gotcha. All right. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion carries.
I just have a question. We discussed one sandbox, but then was it section?
Nope, there was no action.
There was no action.
There's no action at all on that one. So, yep, that was what was listed for the one that was currently closed.
What's the plan for the other one? Just do it like that?
Lord, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
So as Steve noted, he said that we're investigating covers. That would be the cover for the one that we're looking at. So there's one that's gone, the one that's currently closed. That one's gone. That was the one that we had discussed that we're going to replace. We have to remove that, repair the synthetic surface, as well as then looking to put an additional amenity there, either a picnic table or a play item or something like that. And then the other one, it's still we're maintaining it, and the temporary tarp cover would remain. All right. So I'll be totally honest. We don't take comments or questions during this. I know Debbie had reached out before to try to give you guys an opportunity to speak, but we're looking at it. I would say if you want to get rid of that sandbox, then the time to do it is to come when we're looking at sand as a surface throughout the rest of the community, which is what we noted, which we're going to discuss. Within 2 weeks of it being originally reported, that's why we put in that tarp. We tried to immediately respond. We know that doesn't make you happy. We tried something that we could do within Steve's spending threshold, as well as Todd's team making sure that we maintain it. It's really hard for us to rip out an amenity, and people do look at sand as an amenity. And as Susan noted in the management report, when we were looking at that action item, the reason why we can do it is because there were 2 there. So we can remove one and still keep the existing amenity there. And so I would say if you still have concerns with that, we can do it. I would also encourage you and everyone watching at home, the current 5 people watching at home. Thank you. The people watching at home. If you see an issue or you see, fecal matter, please report it into us, into the app. Pushed for this app, and I'm glad to see people using it. But I think too, the more people that we have report, and the different people that we have report it would help. But at least then that way we're able to do it and we can address it.
And I'm sorry if we don't understand exactly the ins and outs of the process that you have going. I mean, it's kind of a new thing for most of us. We're just purely here out of, the love and concern we have for
We probably should have, in the management report, we probably should have talked about that a little bit to let you know. But I think, just to bring something up, is I think we were looking for a cover, a proper cover for it. And I think I've seen posting, it probably won't work because X, Y, Z. But if it doesn't work, then we'll have to take the next step. If it works, then we have sand with a cover with no PCs, and everybody will be happy. And like you said, I think I've seen before that people won't put it down. I think we're going to find out. I think we're going to go through the exercise. So let's see what happens by finding it, and if it doesn't work, then we'll figure out what to do next. That's the best thing I can say. But we can all talk at the end of the meeting.
All right. Any further discussion on number? Where the heck are we? Seven. For the rep services playground replacement. All right.
Sorry. Or number 9.
All right. Approval of up to a $50,000 expenditure for Spring Park turf field renovations as a CROA reserve expense. This is tab 8 for those in favor. Do I have a motion?
I second it for discussion.
Okay. So we have a Debbie motion, right? And Jack seconded, and we have discussion.
Okay, what I see is a replacement and laser leveling of the turf in some way. What I don't see is the trimming back of the interior trees.
I think it's down at the bottom. It says clearing perimeter vegetation by Davy at $38.50 a day.
No, $38.50 for the total.
I'm sorry, $38.50 total.
And for those of you out there, we did this app. We did go to other people and get quotes for this.
We went to JSM, Lake Jim Farms, and Davy, and they're all very comparable quotes. I think when it comes to familiarity, Davy knows the area. Davy knows the irrigation system. The reason why we're asking for $50,000 when the quotes are in the low 40s is because we'd like to include the clearing of the perimeter vegetation, and we'd like to have some additional dollars there that will be able to cover any irrigation issues that we run into.
They're not, just as a former resident of right around the park, they're not going to clear it where
it's not going to be completely removed. It's just the beginning of that scope. Because we do realize there are residents that are around there, and this does kind of act as a barrier.
Yeah, we're not going to clear it.
You're just going to clean it.
I think what we want to look at is kind of our interpretive signs that are there, getting it cleaned up around there, and then just thinning or clearing back a little bit to if there's any opportunity.
There was a walkthrough at one point. Is there still a walkthrough?
On which side?
On the opposite side of the, well, sorry. Sure, that's what I mean. Is that part of this too? Is that there used to be a way from those houses back
from Spring Park Loop?
Spring Park to be able to make it from those houses across, and people can go instead of walking around. Is that part of this too?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
you mentioned.
I just want to make sure you weren't taking down all that vegetation.
No, but we should be pretty careful. We should be pretty clear. We have to be very clear.
I think it would probably require some project management from our side to make sure that Todd's out there talking to them, looking at what we're doing.
Because I asked them to keep the trees on my end.
And is the construction that's behind all of that vegetation, is that all complete now? Because is there a new area through any of that that's being cleared? There's nothing at all. We're not talking about any part of behind Spring Lake or anything like that. Spring Park or anything like that. Nothing.
No, I think we're looking at laser leveling, replacing the turf, and then up to the perimeter, clearing that back a little bit, thinning where we can. Again, not removing that barrier that's there from the houses, but opening up some of the walkways and then cleaning up a little bit around those interpretive signs.
Okay. You said cleaning up, you're just cleaning up around the signs, you're not removing
inside the park area. Right, cleaning up around the signs.
the signs, I think, weren't they put up there by the garden club that say like scrub oak?
Yeah, you're talking, that's another area too.
We need to get
We
those
need to
cleaned up.
restore, either restore those signs or remove the signs.
In a lot of
And
places.
either get the garden club involved in identifying these things and any excess money we have for them.
Weed, that's what I think some of it is, and we need a little sign for that.
So there's some of that there too, but it's also identifying.
Not that kind of weed, I mean weeds, you know, geez.
Well, because the signs look, and once we clear out that underbrush,
we need to
they'll
make sure
even
they-
look more tired.
So, is our irrigation up to date? So we're gonna put new everything on there. Do we have what we would have, what we want to have? And that, I don't know the answer, I was just saying, is that something that we should look into? Or do we have what we need to have if we're going there? Because this would be the time to kind of make the change now.
Right. Well, in the reports that I have is that the irrigation is suitable for putting in a Bermuda turf field. We just want to make sure when they scan, if there's any, in their laser leveling, if there's any issues with the irrigation, that we can address those at that time.
Have the meters been put in there yet? The meters.
Water meters?
The water meters that have been sitting around for the last couple. I hate to get off the subject, but what are they waiting for putting these in? Who's holding up this project? Enterprise?
The last correspondence I had with them was they were talking about the cost of putting those water meters in, and they were getting back to us on what that would cost.
Well, maybe we should get some of the money back because we're overpaying.
Well,
Without the meters.
We're not paying for anything right now. They're just gathering the cost of what it would cost to put those in.
I mean, how long have been? Goes back to Pat's time since they were trying to put these 3 years.
3 years.
Come on, you know, I mean, it doesn't take that long to put these meters in. From what I understand, they have the meters. Subcontract it out if you can't get the damn thing done.
So management will look into the water meter issue. I think that we've noted that we want to make sure that the landscape clearing is not a clear cut sort of situation, but I think, you know, between us and Todd, you know, we can manage that appropriately, as well as Lee pointed out in regards to making sure the irrigation is up to snuff for this thing. I actually do have discussion on this, and everyone left that I wanted to really hear it. If you note in the packet, this was not, quite honestly, what some residents were asking us to do. Some residents were asking us to replace this with synthetic turf, which is a significant expense. It would be an enhancement to it. However, the reason why we're looking at this, and it was discussed previously at the workshop, and why we're all sitting here discussing it again, is we don't want to change the character of the park. That park was not designed, it's not cleared, it's not sized appropriately for a regulation field of correct me if I'm wrong, like a regulation field of, it's not.
It's about half the size of
So it's an open green space. So we don't just attack sand. We also attack other things too. So we try to make a reasonable, rational decision. And for those that really wanted this as turf, it's something that we can look and revisit, but that's what right now we're looking at making sure that we're maintaining the park appropriately for what it is with a natural surface.
People use it for everything.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Jack.
You know, we talk about South Village Field. What about East Lawn? East Village Field?
Is
that coming up next month?
That's in the plans also to continue looking at this.
So basically, we didn't spend $540,000 on 2 sets of synthetic turf.
Right. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, approval of homeowner requests for August. This is tab 10. Do I have a motion?
Wait.
Sorry.
Skip number 10.
I skipped number 10.
Number 10, tab 9.
Approval, oh yes, sorry. Item 10, approval of $40,236.40 expenditure for rep services, park site furnishings replacement at lakeside pool and park areas and North Village Commons pool entrance. This is a CROA reserve expense. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
And Jack seconded. Any discussion?
Just a quick clarification on that. This is all equipment that was scheduled for your routine review, is that correct?
It is, yes.
Okay.
It's all replacement reserve.
And it's all certified with safety and...
It is, and it's all rep services to match existing park furnishings that we have.
Thank you.
All right, further discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, how about number 11 now? Approval of homeowner requests for August. This is tab 10. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
May I make one comment here? There are two owners who are asking to have, and if we could make it contingent upon them paying their assessments prior to that being waived.
Which line numbers are those?
It's line number 1 and line number 3.
Our recommendation would be to pull those two separately with that contingency.
All right, does someone want to make a motion for this?
What numbers do we want to pull?
1 and 3.
Thank you. Can we, I motion to approve with removing items number 1 and 3.
All right.
And I just wanted to add that the one in the back, is there a payment plan for that? I just have a quick question, sorry. The one on the very back page?
That is actually a separate item.
Yeah.
It's separate?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking about items 1 through 16, with the
Correct.
removal of item number 1 and number 3.
Well, is it removal or is it?
Remove separation. Yeah, we're gonna vote on it separately.
That's with approval pending payment.
I guess you could do it all at once.
Yeah.
So what would we like the motion to be?
Item number 1 and 3, contingent upon payment of assessments, and items 2 through.
All right, second for that.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries.
And then that's the second half of
Yep, the second half of it.
Can you guys
With the
break
account
that
number
next time?
ending in 01, correct?
Can you break that out next time on the agenda? Because I thought we had it. Thanks.
You're talking about regarding the account number, correct? Ending in 01?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Just want to ask if they have a payment plan.
David wants to know if they have a payment plan?
He does not have the payment plan. They have had a payment plan in the past and they have defaulted on it. And if he pays according to what he is, or he or she, I don't know which one it is, if they pay according to what they're requesting, they will never catch up. They will always stay behind. So our recommendation is that they keep current with their assessments and pay that amount.
Gotcha, okay.
Sometimes we can with our own payment plan. I don't like going more than 12 months when they have payment plans. So what would the adjustment be if we offered them a 12-month payment plan?
It would be a little less than, let's get our little calculators out.
$170 a month?
Yeah, about that. There you go.
Now, he did default before, is that correct?
That is correct.
How recently? Do you remember?
That I don't remember.
How about a ballpark? 5 years, 20 years?
Well, in the last 2 years.
And I was saying,
The
it
last
sounded, it was more recent. It
All
was
right,
not.
then the practice has generally been not to give another payment.
Exactly.
You get one, that's it.
That's it.
Especially been 2 years.
Well, I think that maybe they can come back to us and make another offer that.
Is there anything that anyone would like to propose as a modified payment plan?
Well,
I just took
problem is always being in arrears is probably is an issue. So the payment getting caught up, and you know, so.
I'm gonna make a
Well, I
motion
think
to
they've
deny.
had some financial.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if they didn't, and I totally understand.
Folks,
But I want to get them caught up.
folks, there's a motion on the table from Jack to deny the payment plan request. Debbie has seconded it. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, the only discussion I would say is, it sounds like we're going to deny it, but I would say maybe they could come back with something that is
That's always good.
more amenable to the board.
They gotta show me more good faith in this.
Sure.
We
We're gonna have
can tell them that typically we've had within a 12-month time frame and keeping up with all future assessments.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Approval to write off $500 in interest, late fee, fees, assessments, fines, and attorney fees due to foreclosures and bankruptcy as per state statute.
Move to approve.
And approval to waive late fees and interest on a collection item. This is tab 11. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, and discussion. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Action item 13, approval to have CCMC send service area intent to lien letters to owners delinquent in their third quarter assessments. This is tab 12. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Yes, we have 42 homeowners that are only a month behind. I just want to discuss if it was something we might consider to send the letter for an intent to lien when they were 2 months or greater behind, or if we had to do it at 1 month by statute that I'm unaware of.
They're 2 months behind because it was due July 1st, late July 31st, and now here we are at August 31st, and they haven't paid.
So their balance actually should be bigger than this? Or?
No, well,
the current quarter.
it is, the quarterly assessment is past due by 2
This
months.
is as of tonight.
And the intent to lien's the first letter in the process. The second letter, the claim of lien, comes another 45 days later.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This itself, we're not asking our attorney.
You're right.
That's exactly right.
So this balance is actually higher than what I'm saying? That's due.
No.
This seems like more numbers than I remember seeing last time. Is this about the number that we usually, I mean, it seems, I was surprised. That's why I sent you the email, just to clarify that that's exactly what it was.
Have we done this before?
This is the first time we've done this
Oh,
process.
that's why. Okay, that's, so this is part of the new law.
Exactly.
In the past, we would have sent this, it wouldn't have even been an
Unless you're
agenda.
the president of the association as a sign-in.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
I think then
Got
we'll
it.
never see
It's
it.
like-
So this was due to the change in statute.
So that's why I haven't seen it before.
Right.
That was a change. Thank you.
I just, yeah, that's.
And the next one's going to be the same thing as the new state.
Got it.
All right, any further discussion? No. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, action item 14, approval to initiate the finding process for 47 non-compliance items through the notification of the Covenants Committee meeting to confirm or reject the fine. This is tab 13. I would like to make a motion, it's a little bit different than the action item, which is approval to initiate the finding process for the 47 open non-compliance items through the notification of the Covenants Committee meeting to confirm or reject the fine as of this evening's meeting.
May I make a correction?
Absolutely.
It's 34 as of Suzanne.
So it's the remaining open items as the sheet we have sitting in front of us.
I second.
All right, any further discussion?
Just so the viewing audience understands, we're not cold-hearted people. The problem is that this initiates a process, so now the Covenants Committee will now meet and have a hearing on these properties and determine whether we should actually, the fine should be upheld or sustained or whatever the case is.
Right.
This is just required by state law. We don't have a choice.
And this actually isn't, the process is different, but what we're doing is actually not new. This has been going on for forever. It's just now with the state statute change, it comes to us that we give permission essentially for the Covenants Committee to
And please call them and communicate if you have an issue or something's holding you up in order to complete this. They are wonderful people, and they work very hard. Just give them a call at 566-1200. Thanks.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Approval to convert $16,000, no cents, in fines on 3 properties through specific assessments. This is tab 14. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries. Debbie has one.
Just that, thank you everyone for supporting the calendar. The Bloodhound featured in May has been filmed for an NBC television special, and I'll put out the date for that. But we've received a lot of great comments, and thank you everyone that volunteered.
I had an update. We had a meeting of the Master Plan Task Force yesterday, and they voted to send to the board a sequence of events or things that will be taking place for us to vote on with dollar figures, estimates, and stuff like that, based on Steve's master proposal that will be coming out shortly. And our next meeting is October 19th at 4:30. That's a Monday before our workshop. And Dory's not here, but Dory's going to start a dog park committee. Okay, it's going to create rules and regulations and all that stuff and reach out to people.
And those meetings are open to the public?
Absolutely.
And
Jack, you can watch it on streaming, or you can watch it later.
You can even stream it or watch it later, as I did. And I appreciate the comments during the meeting in regards to my watching the recording.
A quick clarification on the time. In the past, when we have scheduled it, we try to do it in the evening. However, we literally had a handful of people the last 2 meetings. So we decided to go with what was the most convenient for the people that have been attending it. And please, if you have any additional comments you would like addressed, please make sure you send an email.
Well, some of this is also based on the ability for Steve to complete the thing, and us find a day to do it
for the meeting
before the CROA board meeting.
Right.
So,
And the resolution that was approved by the CROA board has goal areas focusing on the dog park, and part of that is fundraising. So that's something that they have complete tasked to them. So it's not outside of the realm of what Dory would be doing on the Parks and Recreation Committee anyways. I don't know that they're forming a brand new committee, but anybody that wants to work with Dory to help her with that.
A question, did Mark give you a bid on the civil engineering study?
It was supposed to be this week sometime.
So you have not?
I have not received it.
Could you reach out from him to hear?
Oh, absolutely. I'll follow up with him.
Thank you.
But he did tell me this week sometime, so I haven't. It's still
In the next 2 days?
All right, any other strategic plan goals, board comments?
How much does it cost to redo those pools when they have accidents in them?
So for
the cleaning.
So for an AFR, how much does
Do we have a
it
cost?
for cleaning of shopping the pool? Todd, do you have any idea off the top of your head? More than 3 words. Sorry, Todd, can you come up? See, if you just give me a dollar figure, we could have done.
0.
Yeah. Okay.
Currently, they do not charge us for emergencies such as that.
So it's included in the current contract with Conley. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
It seems like it's happening more and more often lately. But is this just these are from children?
They're seniors.
Maybe. Well, you never know.
It's typically a loose diaper or something like that.
There was a lot of poop at this meeting this evening. Right. Well, now I know why I don't use the pool. Because we should ban the kids too from the pools. It might contaminate the water.
You have DNA swabs for every kid.
All right. Before we go any further astray, any other comments? All right. We'll move to adjourn. So good night to the 3 people watching right now.
What was that famous saying? Good luck and good night, or
Good night, good news, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thumbs down. Good night, good news. Edward R. Martin.